Hey everyone, Iron Leprechaun coming at you. Just got done with the gym and getting ready to go on a Sunday morning hike with the dog. Hope you all had a good weekend and hope it rounds out pretty well for you this Sunday. I'm gonna do my final video for step three, and I got a few things I want to read. Again, if you haven't yet, like, share, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get the alerts for these videos. And of course, another emphasis on the word share. Share this with people that you think might benefit. This is not meant to be just for me, just for you. It's meant to be shared for everybody. So if you're getting anything out of this, that's great. I know I am. If you know somebody that can get something out of this, please share it. So I'm gonna read a few more things out of the basic text of the Alcoholics Anonymous book around step three, and I usually try and substitute the word addict for alcoholic because addict is all encompassing for whatever. If we are suffering from addiction, that it's easier to relate for most people if I use that word. Again, even if you don't think you're suffering from addiction, please take the principles behind this and apply it. That is the point of all these videos. It's not just for the suffering addict. While they may benefit more than most, who knows? We all can benefit, and that is the point. So, still around step three, and this is, again, it's about turning our will and lives over to the care of God as we understand Him. So we talk about getting to this point, and actually, there's getting to this point in our mind is huge. So before we can actually take steps, which follow, the action steps they say are 4 through 9. So it's huge to get. I mean, it is necessary to get to a place in our mind and our heart that we're okay with step three at some level. And I've talked about that in other videos, different levels, and it doesn't have to be the Christian God like it is for me. It could be just a higher power, a power greater than myself, something bigger than me, because I can't seem to make whatever issue I'm dealing with rectify itself on my own will. And it talks about it here. It says, the first requirement is that we be convinced that any life run on self-will can hardly be a success. On that basis, we are almost always in collision with something or somebody, even though our motives are good. I've been there. So many things that I have great intentions for. If I'm trying to force it so hard and I'm so focused on it, I always come into contact with things, some resistance, or people that provide that resistance. So a couple pages later, it goes into something I've talked about in other videos, not even related to this 12-step miniseries. It says selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of our troubles. Driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity, we step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate. Sometimes they hurt us, seemingly without provocation, but we invariably find that at some time in the past, we have made decisions based on self, which later placed us in a position to be hurt. That has happened to me so many times. Recently even, with people, I could think of an instance a couple weeks ago where somebody I'm fairly close to, we were having a conversation, and fear, based on the context of the conversation, a fear kicked in, and once that happened, I lost all control of my faculties and started running on that fear. And that fear drove me to say things and do things in that conversation that I normally wouldn't do. And and it hurt that person. And that's not what I want to do. That's not what I want to be to anybody, especially somebody I care about. So, this happens, and it ain't just alcoholics and drug addicts and what have you. This happens, and so take note of this. It goes on to say, so our troubles, we think, are basically of our own making. They arise out of ourselves, and the addict is an extreme example of self-will run riot, though he usually doesn't think so, especially in the moment. Above everything, we addicts must be rid of this selfishness. We must, or it kills us. God makes that possible, or a higher power makes that possible. And there often seems no way of entirely getting rid of self without his aid. Down the paragraph, it says, it goes on and talks about, our higher power being the ultimate authority, and we are his agents. And it goes into a couple of descriptions there, but other metaphors. But at the end of it, it says, and this concept was the keystone of the new and triumphant arch through which we passed to freedom. Isn't that the goal? Isn't that where we're trying to get? Freedom from fear-based reactions and thoughts and words. And because I know I don't like being a slave to something as negative as fear. I don't want that. Now, fears aren't all bad. Fears keep us alive in some situations. But when fear drives us to take action that not only harms other people, but puts us in a negative space, and we start spiraling on that, and it gets deeper and deeper. It's what we call a positive feedback loop, and we just get deeper and deeper into the negative. And that is the vicious cycle. If we get more negative, we act more negatively. It affects other people more negatively, and it just magnifies until we ultimately push everybody away. And when we come out of this fear-driven stupor, we sit there and wonder, how did this happen? What happened? Some of us might say, oh man, again? I know, I've done it. I've done it recently. And man, it's horrible. And the idea is the more often we seek and come to a place of being okay with the fact that our higher power is the focus of trying to move into a new way of living, that happens less. That negative stuff, fear-driven action happens less. I know because I've experienced it. I've seen others experience it, and I know it to be true. It's not always as easy as me telling you right now, but this is the springboard to move forward. Keep this as the baseline, the base of the pyramid, the keystone to the triumphant arch. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Google that stuff, man. Google that shit. Find out, look up what the keystone is when it comes to architecture, and then you'll understand what I mean and what the text means with that metaphor. That's all I'm going to say about that, and I hope you all have a good rest of your Sunday, and I look forward to moving into the action steps. Again, like, share, subscribe. Thank you for joining me. I encourage and appreciate your feedback. Talk to you soon.